Hello, everyone. Really excited to have our guest in today. He is an All-American football player, a decathlete. I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit here in singing your praises. Played football professionally. He's built several multi-million-dollar online businesses and continues to do so. He's the host of the School of Greatness, a podcast ranked in the top 100 in the world and downloaded over, I think it's 45 million times and counting now. Yep. And President Obama named you one of the top entrepreneurs in the country. And personally, from every time I've hung out with or met you and everything I've heard from everyone else who's done that, just an awesome guy. And really excited to have you here today. Lewis Howes, and also I should say, best-selling New York Times author of The School of Greatness, and now The Mask of Masculinity. Which are, if you haven't checked them out, definitely do so. And you have a new one now coming out as well, Millionaire Morning, and that's at millionairemorning.com. Yes, I don't have one of those yet, so I'll have to get one of those.
Just came out, themillionairemorning.com, yep.
Great. So if you want to check out Lewis Howes, the School of Greatness podcast, millionairemorning.com, and of course, lewishowes.com. Lewis, welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and excited to having a chance to chat with you.
Thank you. And for everyone listening or watching, if you're not on Thinkific, stop right now and go sign up for Thinkific, because it's where I host all my courses, and it's been transformational for my business. So I highly encourage it. And they have the best customer support of any course platform out there, so make sure to sign up today.
Thanks, Liz. I appreciate it. That's awesome. So I wanted to. Now you're embarrassing me a little bit. I did want to.
Seriously though, I mean seriously, I wasn't even planning to talk about this, but you guys have been instrumental in our business, and the level of detail, the level of support for your whole team, the customer support experience is unbelievable. A lot of like software platforms that I sign up with don't usually have the level of support that you guys have. Now I'm putting the pressure on to make sure that support continues this way when anyone signs up right now, but you guys have been unbelievable. And you just make it seamless for me to have multiple courses where people can buy multiple programs all in one place. And for people that are looking to build their online business or make money on the side or whatever it may be, it's now easier than ever to build an income for yourself by doing courses or by hosting information on a private members area like Thinkific. So I highly recommend you guys checking out, whether you have a course or not yet, or if you're on another platform. I recommend checking them out just to try and test it and see how simple it is. I had my girlfriend launch her first course about a week and a half ago. She has zero online experience in terms of like technical stuff, building websites or sales pages or anything. I said, just sign up with Thinkific. It's so simple. She shot the videos for her program, uploaded it in there. At first, she was kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. I go, okay, well, just follow the steps or type in the help section. How do I do this? And it pops up all the information. So there was some learning because she'd never done anything online, really, except for Instagram. And she figured it all out over a weekend, put all of her videos in there, edited it all. She linked with lead pages to have like a sales page that she edited there. And she did 6 figures in her first ever launch for her first ever course using Thinkific. And she was like, now she's like a pro in there, constantly tweaking and updating and checking the sales and connecting with the members and emailing. You know, she's got a system down, but it took her a couple days to figure it out. But once you get in there, you figure out how the software, the system works. It's going to be easy once you get it done and try it at first. So if she can do it, if I can do it, then you can do it.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. I absolutely love hearing stories like that. And that was primarily just from her Instagram.
All Instagram. Only
wow.
Instagram. She did Instagram, a 5-day Instagram challenge to her audience. Now, she had about 350,000 followers at the time, so she'd been giving free content every day, video content, teaching about mobility. She's a doctor of physical therapy, so she was teaching like stretching and handstands and flexibility and mobility and how to relieve pain in your back and stuff like that, just giving free content for a year since she's been doing these videos. And she grew 200,000 followers in a year because she did a video a day teaching something for free, 60-second video.
Yeah.
200,000 followers she grew. I kept telling her, like, just create an opt-in and get people to opt in. She never did it until 3 weeks ago. She created an opt-in around a free 5-day challenge. She said, hey guys, I'm doing a mobility challenge. You'll get 1 video a day. But you got to opt in first on my website. So they opted in. She built a list of 11,000 people Then at the end of the challenge, she opened up her cart for Thinkific, and she did a 5-day kind of open where it was a discount of $79 for her product, and then it went up to $97 at the end of the 5th day, and she did over almost 1,500 units sold, customers in the first 5 days, and it continues to sell. She's left it open and it continues to sell because she does, she's doing a weekly newsletter, and it sells when she shares her newsletter. So very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like overproduced. It doesn't have to be designed in a crazy way. Like, she spent 2 days building out the program, so she didn't have time to really design it and spend a lot of time and money investing in that. And so you can do this. You can do this. She spent a day and a half filming the videos for her program a few weeks prior, so she had the content already done. But she had no clue how to add it into the course, how to upload the course, how to launch it, how to create a sales page. She didn't know how to do any of that, and she did it in 2 days and figured it out, and now it's easier.
Awesome. That's great. That's and it's really cool to hear that she did it so quickly, because I do find one of the biggest struggle points, I'm sure you see this in building any business, a lot of people get hung up on the details or spend too long in the planning and don't just get something out there.
Well, she has me as her boyfriend, where I'm like, just launch it and then create it as you go. So I'm like the king of launching and then creating. But she was definitely stressed out. I mean, that first day she was freaking out. She was like, I have no clue how to do any of this. And so there was definitely some tears and some stress, and having me have to grab her computer and be like, okay, well, let's just create something simple and don't have to overthink this. But I think her perfectionist mind, which a lot of us have, it's like we want it to be perfect before we put it out there. Otherwise, people are going to make fun of us, or there's mistakes. I get it. But I'd rather do a 6-figure launch and have something not perfect than never launch and never make any money.
Right. Yeah. And to your point of launching quickly and getting things going, I mean, it feels to me like Mask of Masculinity was out relatively recently. How long has this been going for? I mean, I've just got my hands on it recently. About a month ago. And you've already got another book out, Millionaire Morning.
It came out a month ago, and just before I launched that book, I was like, I did an Instagram live, and I just said, hey guys, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about habits lately. Like, just all these books on habits is coming out. All these books about mindset is coming out. And then I looked at my top podcast downloads, the top episodes, and 3 of the top 6 were around money. Like, how to make more money, anything around money. Mm-hmm. We're just crushing it. Out of 550 episodes, 3 of the top 6 were around money. And then 3 of the top 10 were around performance and habits and mindset. So I said to myself, this is what people are wanting from my audience right now. I don't have any resources about, money really, except for the interviews I do. So I said, why don't I ask my audience if they would want to learn how to make more money from the first 2 hours of their day, the morning routine on how to make more money. Because there's a lot of stuff out there about morning routines and habits, but I don't hear about the morning routines that are actually going to make you more money. They're just about how to optimize your life. And I did a little post on Instagram. I said, hey, who would want this if I wrote about the morning routine of making more money and what the richest people in the world do in their morning to make them more money that day, and what I did over the last 10 years from being broke, not knowing what I'm doing, in my mornings to help me earn money that day. And I just did like a 15-minute live, and I had 2,000 people opt in. We're like, yes, I want that. So I said to myself, I wrote it in the next 10 days. I was like, all right, let me just write this. It wasn't perfect, but I had my team edit it. We've been going back and forth. That was happening before I launched the Mask of Masculinity. So I was like, I want to have something that launches right afterwards and not wait another year. I want to get this done now.
Yeah.
So I got it out on paper. They edited it. We got it back to me. And I had to kind of wait until after I was done with all my interviews and press, just because I wanted to put all my attention on one launch and not try to do 2 things at once. So luckily my team was able to work on it with me. But now we launched it out. And here's the thing. I've sold almost 1,000 of them in the last 2 days. And we can't ship them yet because it's still not ready. So I said, we're shipping it in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
But get it now. This is like an early print, but it's like, all janky inside. It's not ready yet. But it looks good on the outside. So the thing is, I'm testing. If no one bought it, then I wouldn't have to finish this thing.
Right.
I wouldn't have to go create it.
Yeah.
People want it. So test it and see if people want something first.
Oh, that's great. And that one there, that's something you can get that at millionairemorning.com, and that's really the morning routines of. And is that based a lot on interviews from School of Greatness?
It's some of the stuff that I pulled away from the millionaires and billionaires that I've interviewed, but it's probably only like 30% from that. The other 70% is actually what I did for the first 2 years when I was broke on my sister's couch.
Right.
What I did in the mornings that helped me make more money in those days. And so it's about the routines, the habits. Here's the thing. These habits that millionaires do, it doesn't matter where you live in the world, who's in your family, where you go to school. You can do the same habits. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyone can do these habits. It's just being aware of them and doing them. And so it's cool. I'm excited about it.
Excellent. And that one is really for anyone is specific to people who are in business. If you're getting into business or starting something, or is it?
It's specific to anyone who wants to learn how to make more money. Period. Yeah. Whether you're working a job, you're in business, freelancer, it doesn't matter.
Excellent. We've been trying to bring in a little bit of a new. We got one of the guys on the team actually was a monk for 8 years in France in a monastery, and now he does digital marketing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I met another guy named Jay Shetty who's been blowing up online. You might have seen some of his videos on Facebook, but he was a monk for 3 years, and now he's like creating viral videos about philosophy of the world and stuff like that, and they're crushing.
Awesome. Yeah, I keep telling Colin here he's got to get into doing some more of that stuff because he does most of the marketing, a lot of the marketing for us, and but he's bringing in some of these habits for start of the morning workplace routines and actually going out helping people in corporate environments do more meditation early on.
Meditation, that's great. Yeah, that's like the Headspace guy. He was a monk for 10 years and then launched Headspace.
Right. Awesome. I did want to talk a little bit about, I know it's already a month in, so it's, off your top list these days, but the Master Masculinity.
It's still the most important piece of work that I'll probably ever do.
It was really amazing, and honestly, like I perceive you, I've seen you at conferences, and we've hung out a couple of times, and you definitely are a pretty masculine guy. You're tall and athletic and good looking and do well, and so it's funny because you talk about all these individual masks that we can wear as men, and to see you. You especially, I think, open up and expose even some of your personal stories, and then all of the other interviews and other people that we can perceive as having these really strong personas and the man kind of thing, opening up and telling some of these stories. It was pretty awesome and kind of allowed me to really take a closer look too. So it was personally quite engaging and interesting to do that as well. So I really appreciate it from a personal perspective. And then I was actually going to ask you is because when I first saw the title, I sort of had one perception of who it was for, and then as I started reading, it changed, and as I got through it, it changed a bit more. And now I'm thinking it even in terms of like as a parent, I've got a son on the way soon, so I'm really thinking like this is something great that I can actually help in parenting. Did you have an avatar? I know with podcasts, you usually have a pretty clear avatar. Did you have an avatar for this one?
Well, with my podcast, my avatar is conscious achievers.
Yeah.
Because I have like 16-year-olds and 70-year-olds and like everyone in between, so I just was like more of a mindset avatar. In the book, I started writing it for myself and guys like me who grew up thinking a certain way about what it means to be a man. Mm-hmm. And then as I was writing it, I was like, oh, this is actually probably more powerful for women who have these type of men in their life, whether their father, their brothers, their husbands, their boyfriends, their son, who are disconnected, to be able to understand and tap into a different style of language and communication to relate to them in a different way so they don't feel as guarded around them, or they don't feel attacked or feel wrong or feel bad for who they are. And the women who can actually get them to shift and open up is who I wrote this for as well. So originally it was for me because I realized that I had so many flaws as a man and so many misconceptions of what it means to be a man, from just years of trauma and years of heartache and feeling like suffering inside and feeling the sense of loneliness, feeling the sense of pressure, a sense of weight on my shoulders and like tension in my chest a lot. And when I finally released a lot of those things about 4 years ago, I was like, wow, this is like a whole different world when I don't carry these masks so prevalently in my life. And when I let go of all the things that I'm angry about or frustrated about or unforgiving of people of, and when I finally started to let all that stuff go, I was like, wow, I feel there's a sense of freedom that I've never had before. And I felt so light. I felt like I could perform at such better levels in my life, and it was like I could finally flow all the time. I was able to sleep at night, whereas before it would take me forever to go to sleep. And I was just like, man, this is a better way to live. My business started taking off. Relationships were taking off. Like, everything was coming to me much more naturally. And I was like, this is really the secret. Like, if guys knew that they didn't have to wear this pressure, these stereotype of what it means to be a man, I feel like they would flow better. And as you know, the only way to reach the highest performing levels we can at anything is if we are in flow. Talk to your monk friend who's in the room. It's like, if you are wearing anxiety, stress, pressure in your brain and on your chest, you're not going to be able to perform. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have the energy. People are going to feel that energy. You're going to be eating poorly. You're going to have poor habits because of it. And it's going to wear on you over time. You're going to look 30 years older than you are. And people are going to take notice. And energy doesn't lie. And so for me, I was like, okay, what's the book that's going to help guys reach the ultimate success? This is the type of conversation and type of information I felt like would be the most supportive. Because if they want to build their business, if they want to have a powerful relationship, if they want to be successful, whatever it may be, and be fit and get all these opportunities, this is the stuff that's going to support them long term, in my opinion.
Awesome. Yeah, and I got to say, when I first got into it and started understanding what the masks were about, my initial reaction was like, yeah, I think I've conquered that. I've let a lot of that stuff go, and certainly there were some I looked through and I was like, yeah, that used to be me. But I think I'm sort of past that. But then I got deeper into it, and there's still I think it's a constant no matter what stage you're at, there's a constant battle here that you can constantly improve on, for sure.
Always something new, man. I've got so many masks I'm still wearing, and and I don't know if we'll ever be able to remove them fully, but if we can be aware of them fully, then we can shift out of it so much quicker than when I used to hold on to things forever.
Right.
But now if I can be like, oh, for the last hour I was just like getting angry and frustrated and defensive for no reason.
Yeah.
And I ask myself the question now, and your monk, what's his name, Colin?
Colin Powell.
Colin, I ask him this. I ask myself this question now, based on every decision or action or reaction that I make in life. I ask myself, does it support two things? One, does it support a purposeful vision for my life? And two, does it support my inner peace?
Right.
And usually when I wear a mask that is being defensive or guarded or needing to win or needing to be right or whatever it may be, or needing to prove myself, it's coming from a place of fear or anger or something, and it doesn't bring me inner peace, and it doesn't support a purposeful vision for my life that serves humanity. It hurts those things. And so I just go back to a place of awareness and say, okay, this is actually hurting me right now, and it's not supporting my vision or my body. So let me communicate the way I need to communicate to clear this energy, to conclude this conversation, to apologize, to see where I could be different, to own my responsibility in this moment, to let it go, whatever it may be, and move forward towards inner peace and a purposeful vision. And there's a great story that Colin probably knows and probably can say way better than me about the story of two monks who, I'm going to butcher it. I'm just going to make it up.
Go for it.
They were walking down the street, and there was an older lady who was getting out of her car, and there was a big puddle of water, and she had asked one of the monks, one of the monks saw her, went over, stepped in the water, put her on her back, and carried her over so she didn't have to get in the water, and so she didn't have to get wet. And the older lady said something rude to the monk and said something nasty to the monk. And even though he was giving to her, said something mean and nasty, and he walked away graciously and just walked away, didn't say anything, bowed and walked away. And it was about an hour later, the other monk who was with this person and witnessed this came to him and said, gosh, I'm still just frustrated. I can't believe that older lady was so rude to you and so nasty to you. And I can't believe she said those things to you after you got wet yourself, carried her from her car to safe, dry land. How could she still be saying these nasty things about you for no reason? And the first monk who carried the woman said, I let her go an hour ago. Why are you still carrying her? Why are you still holding on to her?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Collins probably knows the story better than me, and I just kind of made up half of it. But essentially, us holding on to the past does not support our future.
Yeah.
It does not support our inner peace. When that other monk was ruminating and how frustrated he was or how hurt he was by these actions of someone else, it hurt his inner peace in that moment, and it didn't support him in being creative towards his vision for helping humanity.
Right.
And that's what this is all about.
Excellent. And then, so I mean, going through this book, I mean, that's an excellent story. But you got a chance both through the podcast and then for Mask and Masculinity to interview people like one really cool one I saw was Captain Dale Dye, Ray Lewis, James Altucher, Tony Robbins, even an FBI agent. Any that stand out to you now at this point and sort of looking back at understanding the Mask and Masculinity generally, or really just some of the stories that stick out to you as some of the greatest that came out of this? I know there's so many good ones in there, so that was one of my favorite things in going through is so many good stories to demonstrate the principles.
Gosh, I feel like for whatever reason the Ty Lopez story came up to me the most about the material mask. And this book isn't to like put anyone down or make anyone wrong for anything, because I put myself down and wrong for like every mask. Mm-hmm. It's to kind of bring light and awareness to like, is something that we're doing working for us for a purposeful vision for our life and for our inner peace, or is it hurting us? Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to bring light to. And, just there's a story about Ty Lopez and how I think there's a way to like inspire people and lift people up in a certain way that that is more effective sometimes in the way that he does it in showing off a lot of the money and things like that. Again, I'm not here to like judge or make wrong, but I come back to, is it the most effective it can be for inspiring people in the way that we're doing things? So that's a story.
Right. Yeah. And then I know you contrast that a little bit with Tony Robbins and his story in the diner of meeting that boy and just being flat broke and handing him everything he had.
Yes, exactly. And listen, I think it's all about the timing and the place where we're at. And some of these stories are great and inspiring, and other times it may not make sense to do these things. But it's just to bring awareness and light to the fact of, is what we're doing serving our greater purpose for our life? And is it serving our family, our friends, humanity, the world? And just to be mindful of all these things. And, as Colin probably thought of these things every single day as a monk, is how can I serve humanity on a higher level? And how do my energy and actions, when I show up in a certain way, how can I affect anyone that sees me, whether they're walking by me on the street, whether they see me post something online? How can I create positive effect on anyone in the world who comes in interaction with me today? And I think that's what we get to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Is having those actions. And
for me, I think particularly what really stood out is the impact it can have on the closest relationships in my life.
Absolutely.
So that was I'm gonna see if I can get my wife to read it.
There you go. Yeah. Give it to her.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, you've built and sold companies. You've done courses, books, your podcast. Other business models. Is there one model that's standing out to you now as something that is big for you now or big in the future?
Well, I'm really loving the membership model right now, whereas I did this years ago and I got kind of burnt out by it, and I just don't think I had the right system in place to sustain it. But now I really love the model of continuity and membership with two different levels.
Yeah.
With a smaller level where it could reach the masses of your audience, where they can all afford it and they want to be in for 6 to 12 or however many months beyond that. So not just afford it for 1 or 2 months, but what's the price point that they can afford every month moving forward, where you're going to add so much value that it's a no-brainer for them.
Right.
So I have a $49 a month membership program. And I really like that. I really like it because there's a lot of people, because a lot of my courses are $1,000, $2,000, $500. So most of my audience is at the place where they can't afford that. So I said, okay. And I never did a lower end product. I always had free with my podcast, and then my book, which is like $20 or whatever. And then it was like 500 or 1,000.
Right.
And everyone kept saying, like, you got to offer something more lower price point. But I'm like, I like to be a premium person and really like over deliver for people who have that type of money, who are ready to go to the next level, and not more of a beginner level, just because I feel like that's more work. And I get bigger results for people that are willing to invest in a higher level. And I switched it up. I was like, let me test this. And we launched this 4 months ago. We've got 1,000 members in, and I feel like it's really making an impact on those people. The price point is right where people are still getting great results. And so I'm excited to take that to another level this year.
Yeah.
And then the higher end membership as well. So I have a mastermind that's $35,000 up front for the year for a 12-month commitment. And I really like that model.
Yeah.
Because we meet 3 times throughout the year. We do a group coaching call on video once a month to hold each other accountable for our financial and our impact goals that month. And it's been a powerful year. This was the first year I did it. It's been very powerful because so many of the members have just gotten incredible results. And it's great revenue for me. It's a great model for me to leverage what I'm already doing. Mm-hmm. And there's a group of individuals that want to learn how I've launched my podcast to get to the top 100, that want to learn how to do a New York Times bestselling book, that want to learn how to interview big influencers, that want to learn how to launch these big courses, that want to learn these things that, them investing $35,000 is not a lot because they're already making 7 or 8 figures. And they're getting so much value from, the bigger people in the online marketing industry usually feel isolated because they don't have many peers that live near them or they can talk to or connect with. Especially if you're an introvert, you're not really going out and finding those people. So this is also a place to like meet other people that are up to big things that you can partner with, things like that. So for me, it's very powerful. And people just get huge returns financially. They just crush it. And they find partnerships in there. They find other things and opportunities in the group. So many ideas. So I love bringing people together and curating that.
Yeah.
And those are 2 things I did this year that kind of I wasn't sure I was ever going to do, and I'm really glad I did, and I'm glad I tested it. So those 2 things I really like, and I love the idea of books really don't make any money, but the impact they have when done well and the exposure that they bring when done well helps everything else that I'm building and selling online. So it's all part of an ecosystem
right.
that I think is necessary.
Yeah, it's sort of your brand building piece to it.
Like Thinkific did a book around how to be, how to earn your own money on the side or whatever, and it's essentially just around creating a course. That would be powerful because you guys would differentiate yourself. It wouldn't make you any money, but it would make you a lot of money in the process, of like, okay, 5,000 to 10,000 new people like bought this book, which got us some cool national press, which got us an extra 500 or 1,000 paid subscribers, or whatever it is. Or it's a free book campaign where you sell it for shipping and then you build your list from it. Like that might be, I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but it could be a good thing to do. And a great investment for you.
Yeah, guys. I've got one sort of in the works. It's one of those things that may be in the works for a while though, because my time's pretty limited. But we actually just did a children's book. We haven't put it out there yet, but we've got a children's book that tells it's a cute story about a bunny learning some entrepreneurial lessons in a really cute, fun way. And I beta tested. My daughter was the first beta tester. And at the 4th reading, when she was still saying, "Daddy, read it again," I was like, okay, I think we have something good here. That's cool. It's not just kind of it's not at all a promotional marketing thing. It doesn't touch on courses. It's more about trying to instill some entrepreneurial values and my daughter's 2, so she was getting something out of it and enjoying it. So
that's great.
We're having fun with that.
Now you need to give yourself a goal. I'm going to put you on the line here. Give yourself a goal to finish this book in 4 months. Don't even call it like a Thinkific book. Like think of how can it be like a how to launch your business online book, something like that. Yeah. And you do it for free, man. You give it for free, and those 50,000 people who have subscribed who haven't paid for Thinkific yet, you get them to buy it for $8 of shipping, and then you upsell them a 30-day trial and get an extra 2,000 to 3,000 people buying Thinkific. That's what it's for.
All right, sounds like I need to get into your coaching program so I can get on those accountability calls.
Exactly.
That's it. So you said you'd tried the membership before, and now you've come back to it, and it's working better. Was there a specific? Because it's interesting that you're saying it's working well. Because looking at our data, I mean, the nice thing is we get to see data across millions of course sales, thousands of instructors, millions of students, and I am seeing the membership side doing exceptionally well, and a lot of the people doing that really standing out. Is there something there that clicked this time that made it different or that much better? I mean, you have two wildly different price points. In terms of even investing your time and making sure they get value every month out of it, or how you marketed it, or
one of the things is the last time I did it was probably 5 years ago, and membership software wasn't that accessible and easy to use. There was a lot of like 3 plug-in add-ins to this and that, and it just like wasn't like user friendly for the creator.
Yeah.
Now with platforms like Thinkific, and there's lots of different membership specific platforms out there as well, it's a lot more user friendly for me, where I can add a new course in Thinkific, which is my membership. And people who are already in there, it's like I don't have to go create another platform. I can just have it all in one place. So that was powerful. Also, I'm doing so many webinars already.
Yeah.
Like every day with automated webinars. And we're driving so much paid traffic to free webinars, teaching a topic to sell one of my other 500,000 or 2,000 hour courses. And I feel like it's just been harder in general to sell premium courses.
Yeah.
Maybe just because so many people are doing courses, so there's so many options. Maybe because there's so much free content out there. Maybe who knows why. But I feel like it's harder selling. Doesn't mean it's still not effective, but across the board, a lot of my friends who are big 7-figure course sellers have struggled this year.
Yeah.
And have felt like this pain of like, oh, I used to do a launch and do $500,000 to $1 million, and now I'm doing like 35,000 when it's like a more premium price.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe people just don't want to invest as much anymore, or who knows. So I said, let me test it. And, we're still selling a lot of our premium stuff, but I was like, let's at least make sure that we're getting more customers and clients who are paying monthly at a lower price point. So we're making up for that financial loss maybe we're losing on people not buying as much of the premium stuff. If they're not buying that, let's get them in at least where they're buying something every month.
Right.
And a part of a community, and a part of like getting one specific strategy every month that could help them make $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 in a marketing campaign that month if they applied it.
Right.
Giving them case studies, examples, like step-by-step, tutorials, all that, but for $49 as opposed to $2,000. So it's been very effective. It's been very effective. And I think people, like for me, there's 4, 5 things that I've done this year that are different than last year. Because I think every year I've got to do something innovative while things are going well. What can I innovate into something new that's I think it's going to be big in 2 years or the following year, but keep ramping up the thing that is working.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said I wanted to do is this kind of like free book style, which I was like, I've never really been a fan of the free book campaigns. Like, I'll probably never do my hard book, like my big publisher book, for a free book campaign.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to track the mainstream press. I want to like hit the New York Times list and do all that stuff with a big book.
Yeah.
So I said I want to try this, but it's going to be mostly like just paid ads, and I'm not going to be like doing a big promotion around it, and see how it goes. So I wanted to try that, and that's been getting people. They buy this, and then they go right into our inner circle continuity. So it's a way to get people in people's nightstands. Like I want to be next to people's beds.
Yeah.
First thing that when they wake up, they see this.
Yeah.
That was one thing. The second thing was our membership, our inner circle continuity, which blew up in the first few months. So I was like, okay, this works. Let's keep it doing. That's the second thing. The third thing was the Greatness Mastermind, the high ticket mastermind. The fourth thing was a documentary that I'm filming. We're in the process of editing now. We've been shooting for the last 4 months. And I said to myself, I just see this type of media on Netflix being a powerful way to hit the masses in a mainstream way. And it's a $250,000 investment. It's a ton of time. It's a ton of energy. I've never done it before, so it may not work. It may not pay off. We still have to sell it. Like, all these things have to happen for it to work.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if it does work, it's going to be big. You know what I mean? And it's going to be worth that investment and even that testing. So we've been filming a documentary. That's the fourth thing. And the fifth thing is I've been working on a bigger partnership with Facebook that I'm not allowed to share yet because we're still in the final works of things. But I would say that, you know, going after bigger distribution partners to partner on content with is something I'm exploring in general, and one of them is Facebook. So I'm doing 5 innovative things this year. Call it 6 if you want to say this book, which most people would think that never thought that I would do a book around this topic. But I want to hit people in a different way than just what I think is actually the most important thing, as opposed to just another thing about how to make money, which I can do in my sleep. This took, you know, 2 years of research and energy and tears and, you know, a lot of effort to do the thing that I think is going to impact men and women and human beings in a bigger way than anything else I do. So really 6 things I did this year that are innovative, and I think are going to continue to help me by being innovative, because I see a lot of these course creators, they make a lot of money for a couple of years, but then they stop being innovative, and you start to see them like get lazy and sloppy because they made a bunch of money, but then it's like you still don't have a brand. Like, you haven't done anything to build your brand. You're just like arbitraging traffic, and you know, some people know who you are, but you have to keep doing that every year to make money. And then when the competitors come in and you just have the same thing, it's going to be a challenge. So I'm kind of rambling now, but this is all my thoughts of how to continue to stay relevant, mainstream, credible, profitable, growth-oriented, like focusing on innovation, building your brand, and testing different product ideas.
You're really setting up a real platform and taking your brand to another level, which is something I've definitely noticed. It's interesting you say that about the changes in some of the big course launches at the premium course levels, because from our data, we still see like the appetite is definitely still there for courses and only growing. I see it getting into wider and wider demographics, more and more people, you know, paying for online education. But definitely there is a change in the kind of things they have the appetite for. And I think one of our theories is really around the level of service too that you provide. So when you start to go more the membership route, you can provide a more ongoing value, rather than, I think there has been a bit of fatigue of, you know, buy a digital product, download it, and then do what you will with it. If you can start to provide a bit more on the service side, or that ongoing value, or that coaching, or that mastermind, or the community, that stuff really can start to make a huge difference. And that's where, especially you tie that then with membership, and you start to create this ongoing community. So it's not surprising that stuff's working well for you, and really good to hear that.
Yeah, it's been good. So, but I think people listening or watching should be aware of that. Like, what's the thing? I go back and forth this a lot, actually, because I love the book called The One Thing. It's up here somewhere. Where it's like, only focus on the one thing, right? That's going to help you generate more profits, whatever it is. I can't just do one program. I'll get bored. So for me, it's like, yes, I love that, and I want to focus on how can we systematize each program so that it's optimal and it creates more with our team. But I've got too many ideas and too much content to want to just put out one program and then just optimize one product. And some people do it really well. You know, someone like Marie Forleo's got one product and crushes it. You know, she's crushing it more than a lot of people in a big way. But now she's coming out with other stuff. She's writing a book. She's got another copywriting course. She's doing other stuff now because I feel like, you know, she has to. I don't know. Maybe there's a challenge with something. But so I think it's like, I think all great companies and brands learn to innovate. You know, I look at Netflix as a great example. It shipped out DVDs originally. It wasn't online streaming, and then it innovated into like online streaming, which I remember when it first started, it was horrible. It sucked. Like, they had like 10 movies from like the 50s or something, and there was nothing new. And now they're investing in constant innovative new content. Every week there's some new program where you're just like, I have to go watch Netflix. It's that good. I'm just addicted, right? And so what can we do to reinvest? There's something else, a seventh thing I did that I'm remembering now, is I bought a domain name, greatness.com, which was a massive purchase. It was not cheap at all. It was a 6-figure purchase. And I haven't done anything with it yet. I've had it for 6 months. I've been sitting on it because I've been doing everything else. But I see the idea of like, okay, if I want to really take my podcast and brand to the next level, What's something that could help that? And I was like, owning the word greatness.com could be beneficial. And so I negotiated and reached out to someone and like made it happen for months and months of going back and forth. And I haven't even utilized it yet, but I feel like it's good to have for the future. And making that big investment is, scary sometimes. It's like a multiple six-figure investment, but I'm like, it's going to pay off if executed well. And it's an asset too. So
excellent. And then just because you're talking about doing 7 things in your 6 things innovative and also buying the domain, I fear sometimes for the people getting started on this conversation is, you've got a team behind you. You've had some success to back it. You've got some budget to make some of these big investments and big innovations. Someone who's earlier in that, would you still say stick with the one thing, pick the one thing, go with that, or diversify and try a few? How would you go with that?
If you're getting started, stick with one thing and give yourself a financial goal. I call it a money vision. Give yourself a goal like how much do you want to make in this year, 12 months. And then ask yourself, how can I make that much money in 6 months' time? What would it take for me? And then ask yourself, how could I do that in 3 months' time? If you wanted to make $100,000 in the next year, how could you do it in 3 months, 6 months, as opposed to 12 months? And you'll start thinking differently. You'll start thinking bigger. You'll have more urgency. And a lot of times people just like wait too long to launch something. Like our friend here waits 3 years to launch a book as opposed to saying, okay, I'm going to get this book done in 4 months.
Yeah.
And what's it going to take from me? Well, I'm going to get my team involved. Well, maybe I'll spend 20 grand on a writer to help me with this. Well, it's going to take this, this, and this, and I'm going to have a game plan to get it done. And here's what's available when I do get it done. Here's what's going to come to me. Here's the results. Here's all the things that are going to happen because of it. And it's just creating that sense of urgency in our life. But I would stick with one thing if you're just getting started and ramp that up as far as it can go. For me, when I started, it was the LinkedIn training.
Yep.
And I ran with it for like 2 years and just hit it as hard as I could for about 2 years until I was like, okay, I don't feel broke anymore. I feel like I've built an audience. Now let me try something new. And but I mean, listen to your intuition too. But I think if your program or product is doing well, keep going with it. Like Jen, my girlfriend, she did a 6-figure launch a week and a half ago. Yeah. And I said, you're going to relaunch this the last week of December. So in 5 weeks, you're going to relaunch this again and see if you can reproduce the same results, if not more.
Well, especially that time of year for her is probably excellent.
Perfect. Yeah. Right before the new year, let's do this. And we're going to add an upsell of continuity. Yeah. So people are going to buy your mobility. It's called the mobility method. And then we're going to give them a $15 or $19 a month online training for fitness as well. Mobility and fitness, where you're teaching like every week. You do like a 1 live video or whatever it may be, and you give them something else. And you're doing both of these now. So she's going to keep ramping up the one thing, but add an add-on to it now on the second time around and see what she can do with it. That could be huge. You know, if she does the same result again, it's $250,000 in 6 weeks. It's massive. All because of Thinkific, baby.
Great, awesome. Well, I'm glad we can help with it. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I really appreciate it. I know that you've dropped a lot of wonderful wisdom for the audience here today, so that's amazing. If you want to know more about Lewis, check out lewishouse.com. And for Jen, should we share? Is it DocJenFit on Instagram? What's the best?
At DocJenFit. Check her out on Instagram. You can learn more about that there.
Excellent. Thank you, Lewis. I really appreciate having you here, and it was great to spend a little time with you and chat. For those of you who are interested in finding out more about some of the things we chatted about, definitely check out millionairemorning.com for Lewis's newest book, and of course, lewishouse.com for information about a lot of his other products. Thanks again, Lewis.
You're the man, Greg. Appreciate you, brother.
You too, Lewis. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.